Now for the leaders division, I think it's coming down. It comes down to the three teams in the leader division: Wisconsin, Ohio State, or Penn State. All three of those teams are really good. Start off with Wisconsin. Wisconsin, they got the best acquisition, you would say, in getting transfer Russell Wilson from North Carolina State. If you don't know the story about Russell Wilson, he was a starting quarterback for about 2 or 3 years at NC State, but he's also a baseball player and a phenomenal draft pick. So Coach O'Brien went to him and said, are you going to be 100% committed to football? He told him no. So he gave him his able to leave and transfer to wherever he wanted, and he decided to go to Wisconsin. Now, can Wisconsin be that? Can Russell Wilson bring Wisconsin over the hump where they can actually win this division again, win the division, win a conference again, and possibly be a dark horse contender for the national title and or play in a Rose Bowl? I think he could do it. He's dynamic enough. He's the best quarterback that they've actually had in the past, I would say, 10 years. 10 years at Wisconsin. It's kind of easy for him as well because you're going to be handing it off to two of the best backs probably in the country, and Monty Ball and James White in the same backfield. This is one of the best tandems, I think, in all of college football that we've seen in a while. Monty Ball is a lot more inside of a runner. James White can get to the outside, but he can also run inside as well. Monty Ball and James White, they're both great with their hands. So I want to see how that happens for them. If that's one good thing about these two running backs this year than what Wisconsin's ever had, the ability to catch the ball at the backfield. Also, I believe they have one of the best receivers in the conference in Nick Toon. Nick Toon is a big guy, good route runner, solid route runner, and he's just an easy target for a quarterback. I have some problems with the depth that they have behind them because they usually have a number 2 option, whether it either be Duckworth this year or hopefully they have another tight end because they always seem to get those tight ends like Hendricks and Travis Beckham a couple years ago, and they always seem to have that I would say that safety blanket or that second guy they can go to. I want to see who steps up to be that second option for Russell Wilson at the wide receiver tight end position. They have one of the best offensive lines in the country every year. They lose guys to the NFL, and they just seem to get another first rounder, get another first rounder, get another first rounder, get another second pick. These guys are led by Peter Cones and Josh Oglesby, two of the greatest interior players. Cones is one of the best centers in the country, and Oglesby is one of the best tackles in the country. So they have no problem with that. They always had a great line. The defense is going to be a problem for them. I don't think they could generate a pass rush like they did last year because they lost J.J. Watt. And J.J. Watt really put that defense on his back, getting a pass rush, being a guy that he really opened up a lot of opportunities for the other linemen on the field because he was usually getting double teamed or he was getting chipped by a running back or something like that. So I want to see who's going to develop into a pass rusher, if they have it or not. Chris Borland, he's one of the most underrated players in the whole entire country, a linebacker. I think he's a good, solid linebacker. Young, but he can still improve it. He can still make better plays, but he's a tackling machine. I actually kind of like him in coverage as well, too. He's a good cover linebacker. I want to see what they do in the back. The secondary, to me, I don't really see, especially against TCU, they were just getting torched. And I just want to see how when they face these other teams, how their secondary is going to be able to keep up, even though the Big Ten is a running league. But I want to see how they keep up and all that other things. Ohio State, how's Ohio State going to handle the new change? The sudden change exactly from Jim Tressel resigning to Luke Fickell becoming the interim head coach. You know, they got a lot of things on there. They got a couple players that suspended for 5 games. They lost their best player in Terrell Pryor. And I just want to know how this team as a whole, are they going to crumble, or are they going to be one of those things where it's going to be us against the world? And how do they go into that season? They also have who do they start at quarterback? Joe Bowserman or Braxton Miller. Bowserman is a guy who can manage the game, and he can convert third downs and just hand the ball off to the both running backs, Jamal Berry and Daniel Boone Herron, who are two dynamic running backs in their own right. Or you can go with Braxton Miller, the highly touted freshman that's coming in this year, and who's kind of Terrell Pryor, Troy Smith hybrid, more like Troy Smith due to the size and stature, but he's a playmaker. And do you want him? He's going to have his freshman mistakes. He's going to make mistakes. And have him as a dynamic weapon on your offense where you have to worry about him on quarterback counters or cornerback wraps or quarterback reads or zone reads? Or do you have Bowserman, a guy who's not going to be a you would say not going to be a playmaker, but going to be a guy, and Bowserman who's going to be somebody who could manage the game, kind of like Greg McElroy did last year, or the couple years. He's just a guy who game manages, get the ball where it has to be on third downs, be smart with the ball, and everything. Wide receiver, like I said, they lost it. DeVere Posey's one of those guys. He's the best receiver in the conference, but they lost him for the first 5 games. So now I want to see what guys are going to step up, those young receivers that they've got. Which of these young receivers will step up and kind of be that replacement for Dane Sausenbacher, who was one of those guys where you can count on. He was a safety blanket. If you want to throw him the ball in a big third down situation, he'll get the ball for you. He's just one of those guys that you need on that team that has the sure hands. Also, their offensive line is good, great. They lost Mike Adams, one of the best left tackles in the country. At left tackle, he's going to be one of those people that one of those guys that got suspended, but left tackle is also instrumental to protecting your quarterback. And do they have the depth behind Mike Adams for the first 5 games of the season? Also, I also think on this offense, those guys that I was talking about, those top line guys who got suspended, DeVere Posey and Mike Adams on the offensive side of the ball, since they're suspended, now it helps the guys behind them to add depth, good playing experience, and get ready for conference play when the guys come back after the 5th game. On the defensive side, I love this defense, very senior led. John Simon, Nathan Williams, 2 bookends. Great guy, great. They're going to be solid outside. I'm worried about the inside. Defensive tackle, like I said, Big Ten's a running league, and you want your inside guys to be stout. You want them to be stable, so you don't have to be worried about being gashed up the middle on between the tackles. So they're a little weak there. I like what they have at linebacker, very senior. They got 3 seniors that's been on the team for a while that's going to help lead this defense. They also have a young guy, Curtis Grant, who's going to be a star. I believe before he leaves Ohio State as a true freshman coming in. I'm worried about their cornerback situation. They're very young at corner, but they're talented. But in their own right, they're still young. I don't think they're physical enough. They're more cover guys. I don't think they're physical enough, but I'm not worried about the physicality of them because Ohio State always finds a way to get those guys. They have great defensive back coaches where they're good, solid tacklers. So I'm not worried about that. I'm just worried about them at a young aspect of trying to contend in the division or in the conference. Also, but I like their safety. They have tremendous depth at safety. They always seem to have tremendous depth at safety, even though they keep losing guys and losing guys and losing guys. So I'm really not worried about them. Only thing I'm worried about is how they are at a mindset, and do these other guys step up to replace those guys who are getting suspended. Penn State is they have their own quarterback controversy in their own right. Joe Pa's coming into his 1 millionth year as the coach, and they have a quarterback controversy where you go with Matt McLaurin, who took the reins last year as a starter, or do you go with the young sophomore and Rob Bolden, who you want to be the guy to lead this team to the future? But the same thing goes with Ohio State. Do you take the young guy, his mistakes, and see if he's improved with his decision making and his accuracy, and be a playmaker? Or do you take the guy that's not as talented as the younger kid, but can help you win a football game, who's known as also a game manager? So I want to see what they have there. I like Silas Red. Silas Red, can he kind of match or just come a little bit close to the productive numbers that Evan Royster's done past couple years at Penn State? Very good, solid running back. They lost Stephen Green, so they lost some depth behind Silas Red. So I want to see what that goes. Derek Moy, he's one of the most underrated wide receivers in the whole entire country. I think he's one of the best receivers also in the Big Ten, behind Posey and Nick Toon. Penn State has a very good, solid offensive line. I'm not worried about that. They have depth behind that as well too. I'm not sure on the defensive side of the ball, their defensive line. They have to have one of these guys step up and be a pass rusher, because you got to get after the quarterback no matter what kind of league you're in. Because if you can't get after the quarterback, you get no pressure. It's really hard for your defense, even though they have a very, very, very solid back seven. I'm not worried about their back seven at all. They have leadership back there. They have they have safeties back there that are really good. They have corners that are really good, and I like their linebacking core a lot. A lot of leadership, a lot of experience, a lot of game experience as well. Then you go to the lesser guys right now in the division. You go to like the Indianas. Indiana is kind of tricky because they got Kevin Wilson, Oklahoma offensive coordinator, has put several NFL guys into the league, most notably at quarterback Sam Bradford. They've lost a lot of talent. I like Darius Willis as a running back, but the quarterback, they don't have talent. They're getting their quarterback next year, and Gunnar Kiel, his brother's already on the team, who's also a quarterback, but I think Gunnar Kiel can help. They start getting, I like their offensive line. They're solid, led by Andrew McDonald. That's good there. But I just want to see them progress. The wide receivers got to progress. The offensive line got to help depth back there. Running back situation, you got to have depth, and you need talent also on the defensive side. He's got to definitely work hard at. Coach Wilson definitely got to work hard about improving that defense, because the offense is going to be there because he's a great offensive-minded coach. But he's just got to get to recruit the players to play defense against the Wisconsins and the Michigans and the Michigan States, the Ohio States, the Penn State. He's got to get the defense, because in that league you have to play defense. You cannot score like you could in the Big 12 and just outscore teams. You got to play defense in a league like this. Go to Purdue. Purdue is kind of tricky because they lost a couple guys to the league. They've lost their top pass catcher. I like Ralph Bolden as a running back. Can he carry the whole load for the team? Can they get depth behind there? They need to upgrade the talent at the wide receiver position. Like I said, they lost Keith Smith, so I can understand why they're gonna have a drop off in talent there. Decent offensive line led by Dennis Kelly, but the main key in this offense, can Robert Marve live up to the low 5-star, high 4-star level that he had coming into Miami, and then lost the job to Corey Harris and decided to transfer to Purdue? Can he come off that torn ACL? Can he come off that knee injury? And can he live up to the hype in his final year at the quarterback position? Can he do it? And I like his moxie and what he brings to the table. Great arm strength. He has great accuracy, great arm strength. It's just his intangibles. I think his intangibles are a little bit off, and you need that as a quarterback, especially in this type of league. They have to find a replacement for Ryan Kerrigan on defensive line. They need a pass rush. Like I said, you can't get a pass rush. It's going to be very hard to win win this league, let alone the division. I like the good. They have a great, solid linebacking core. Like I said, they got to get better on the defensive line. I like Logan Link. He's definitely a story. He was a walk-on. Didn't play his first 2 or 3 years. Came on last year, led the league and led the team in tackles with 91 tackles. Now he's the senior. He's one of the leaders on the team. Can he help this defense out? I think he's a tackling machine. I like this kid a lot. Going on to Illinois, can Nathan Schellenhaus, can he be the next playmaking star, dual threat guy? Had a lot of promise coming out. Had a lot of promise coming out of Missouri. He was one of those guys everybody looked at. He was one of those dual threat guys. Somebody that can he take it to the next level? Can he replace Juice Williams? And we just got to see. Now he's next year up in the getting experience. Can he improve his passing? Can he improve his mechanics? Improve his decision making like all young quarterbacks do? Illinois, they definitely lost a lot. They need to upgrade their skill positions and their offensive line. I think they're very, very, very poor at the offensive line, and they're decent and they're okay at the skill position on the offensive side of the ball. But they gotta find some talent there recruiting wise. Also, the defensive line has to step up. They're led by Akeem Spence, who's going to be a really, really good player. D tackle. I think he's going to be one of those guys where a few years down the line, he's going to be one of those guys where, oh yeah, I remember Akeem